It's time for the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is the voice of the working class, Rick Smith.
And welcome, brothers, sisters, working class heroes. This is the Rick Smith Show. Thanks so much for being here today on the big program. Lots to get to, lots to talk about. So, this is one of those so moments. Evidently, world leaders came together over the weekend. The big group of 20 summits, all the countries coming together, all the main economies to basically issue a watered down, real direction climate address that you just go, okay, we're going to get nothing done. That's what I'm getting. Nothing done. A few concrete commitments, if any, not going to help reach any goals at this point. In fact, Greenpeace, I think, said it best. That said the G20 leaders failed to meet the moment ahead of the COP26 climate conference that is going on in Glasgow. No commitments, no G20 commitments, nothing to reach zero carbon emissions by 2050, none of that stuff, nothing. But you did have British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, leave it to Boris, who came up with the punchline, it's 1 minute to midnight, he said, and we need to act now. We have to move from talk and debate and discussion to concerted real-world action on coal, cars, cash, and trees. We need more trees, which is why in Biden's Build Back Better plan, you got the 300,000 climate folks that they want to bring in to do some of that stuff, building trees, do some Johnny Appleseed stuff. But this whole COP26, about 25,000 people going to participate in this big thing. Sadly, I fear nothing's going to come out of it. Now, Joe Biden tweeted out today, the science is clear. We have only a brief window to raise our ambition, to rise to meet the threat of climate change. We can do it if the world comes together with determination and ambition. That's what the COP26 is about, and that's the case I made today in Glasgow. And great, this is fabulous. I love the fact that Joe Biden's talking about climate change. But immediately my mind went to Joe Manchin. Nothing's getting done without unelected President Joe Manchin, who is basically Lucy in the Charlie Brown skit again. And we knew he was going to be Lucy. This is not a surprise. No one should be surprised. No one. Because on the very day that this is all going on, and understand, over the weekend, you had a number of progressives coming out and swallowing the hard pill. Turns out that hard pill to swallow was poison. We're gonna go along with this much watered down plan. So what does Manchin do today? Kind of gives them the shot there in the where. He says, quote, simply put, I will not support a bill that is this consequential without thoroughly understanding the impact that it will have on our national debt, our economy, and most importantly, our American people. He then went on to wag the finger. He went on to point at progressives and warn them that holding the bipartisan infrastructure bill hostage, not going to work on him, not going to work on Joe, because he's willing to let both of them tank. Understand that. And, what's frustrating in this is Manchin shows us, right where he's been. And he's been here all along. And I guess the argument is, well, so much for good faith, and this is why the progressives were leery to come along. And when they did, good shot in the back. He's been responsible for months of watering down the Build Back Better plan. Remember, it was $6 trillion to start. That was the big ambition. Nobody thought that was ever going to happen. But like any negotiation, you find some middle ground. So the middle ground would have been 3. That's what you do with Republicans to try and get them on board. Go, okay, well, what do you want? You do the horse trading. Joe Manchin got it done, said, maybe 1.5, maybe 1.7. So Biden came all the way down to meet him. Said, okay, this is what you've said. We've taken out all the things you want. We've stripped everything out of it that you didn't want. No free college, no negotiating prescription drug prices, no dental, no vision for granny, none of that. All gone. And now he comes out and says, no, not going to do it. and then the wagging of the finger. You progressives, don't do the bad thing. And my thought was, well, welcome to the circular firing squad. And this is why progressives were leery. They did. They swallowed the hard pill. I saw Roku this weekend come out and say, yeah, I'm going to support it. And like I said, that hard pill to swallow has turned out to be a poison pill. And understand, this is Biden's ACA. The difference is, as I said from the beginning, and I said this months ago, I don't think anything gets done. At least with the ACA, Obama got something. Now, granted, in the midterms, he got just beaten senseless with it, and Democrats ran away from it. This, I fear, Biden gets nothing on this end of it. And still going to get beat up for it. And this is where Democrats, you just go, what? Now, understand, Joe Manchin is today's, Joe Lieberman or Max Baucus, if you remember the ACA fights back in 10. That's who this is. And we knew this, didn't we? I mean, understand, we knew Manchin was going to do this because it's what he does. I actually thought, though, at some level there would be a point where he goes, now I'm going to get what I need to bring home to the people of West Virginia. If nothing gets done, the people of West Virginia are still one of the poorest states in the country. People will literally die. People will go hungry. Children will go hungry. Families will, continue to struggle as they have been. All because, he has his want and strategic pause. Now, look, I blame Joe Manchin. I blame Kirsten Sinema. But I also blame the 50 Republicans who have made Joe Manchin possible. If we had a functional democracy that actually listened to we the people, where the issues mattered instead of the letter behind your name, we wouldn't need Manchin and Sinema, because there would be other Republicans that go, you know what? I live in a poor state. Mitch McConnell, Kentucky. John Thune, South Dakota. I live in Joni Ernst, Iowa. I live in a poorer state. I've got people who need to put food on the table for kids. We've got seniors in our state that need glasses and chompers. Yes, we should be bringing some of this home. But, as I was going through the list of Republicans, the stale old white man club with a couple of women and one black guy scattered in for good measure, I'm looking at them going, well, who? The Republican Senate has gone so extreme to the far right that, seriously, Jim Snowball Inhofe, you think he's going to do anything on climate change? Chuck Grassley, who, seriously? And the answer is no, none of these people are the savior. You would think, Susan Collins, who likes to pretend like she's a moderate, maybe Lisa Murkowski. No, on this, they're lockstep. And understand, this stuff is popular. Negotiating prescription drug prices, really popular. They're $250 a month for families with kids, so they can make sure that there's food on the table, or a little bit of extra income to keep them just a little bit ahead of the game. Really popular on both sides of the political aisle. Even though the Republicans do say, socialism, but they'll go out, cash the check anyway. Don't see many of them returning it. And I'm just going down this list and I'm going, how'd the Republican Party become the party of scorched earth? How'd they become the party of the wealthy? Because that's where their allegiance really lies. If Democrats said, hey, we're going to give tax cuts to rich people, we're going to give it to Elon Musk. so that when Elon, came out recently and said, I'll sell $6 billion of Tesla stock if I could end hunger, and the UN has a plan to end hunger with $6 billion. You're not going to do it with $6 billion, sorry, but hey, you would think, even if we said we're going to give Elon Musk all the money, we're going to let Elon Musk end hunger, they'd still vote against it because it's benefiting those kids and those families and not Elon. It's crazy times we're in, which is why part of me goes, they're putting up with Joe Manchin's you-know-what, because one, Joe Manchin flips, and he's not going to, because he's in the most powerful position he's ever going to be in. He could become an independent tomorrow and still caucus with the Democrats and still be the outsider, the fly in the ointment, or, the turd in the punch bowl. Probably more apt. But the reason that they're really trying to play with kid gloves with him is that Chuck Schumer this week is going to move forward. They're teeing up the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which is going to help with our insane voting system. And what this part of it's going to do is going to go back, and it's going to undo what our corporate Supreme Court hath done in the Shelby case, and get rid of pre-clearance. It's going to go and it's going to re-put back into place all of the things in the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that the Supreme Court said, no, we're better than this now. We don't have those problems. No. Change whatever you want. And look what it's done. And they're hoping that, maybe, possibly, oh boy. Listen, you're not getting 10 Republicans to vote for this. It's going to die in cloture, and Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema are going to do nothing to end the filibuster, even on this, even though they have signaled that maybe there might be some discussion. Not going to happen. This is going to die just like everything else that is put forth that would actually be helpful, because, again, Joe Manchin. Now, remember, the reason I say that the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act is going to die is because if you remember, at the beginning of the year, Congress put forth the For the People Act. The House passed it. We were going to overhaul the entire voting system. And there was a lot of stuff in there, tons of stuff. They threw everything and the kitchen sink into it, with the idea that, as we debate, you'll pull things out and you'll hone the bill down. You'll streamline it. And that's what Joe Manchin did. He watered it down like he did with the Build Back Better plan. And what it became then is not the For the People Act, but the Freedom to Vote Act. And look, there was some good stuff in there. There really was. Some good stuff. And it passed. It passed the House back in May. Over the summer, the Senate killed it twice. Again, why I believe the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act is a pipe dream. But here's the thing. Manchin's plan that he came out with, not bad. Expand early voting rights, do something on automatic voter registration, which we need. Make Election Day a holiday, which I've been calling for a very long time. If a polling place is changed, the state has to tell you 7 days before the election. So this would be a reason why to not keep changing polling places whenever. Make sure that those provisional ballots that people sometimes have to fill out actually get counted, even if they were cast in the wrong precinct. That you find the right one. And then some really good stuff on the other side. Doing something with dark money, tightening disclosure rules. Tightening a ban on the coordination between campaigns and these PACs, these super PACs. Require Facebook and other social media platforms and high-tech platforms to disclose political advertising. Probably not a bad thing. We should know who these euphemistically sounding groups, Americans for Dogs and Puppies. We should know who's spewing this crap. All kinds of stuff. Mandate, money being handed off from foreign actors. I mean, think about what was his name, Fortenberry. It got a bunch of money from the Nigerian Lebanese billionaire. When I first heard it, didn't you think it was one of those stupid chain emails? Do you think he got sucked into a chain email? No, this is the guy. They found him. This guy got a check. And there's a bunch of other things, like making sure the president and the vice president divest from their businesses so they're not profiting off of sitting in the White House. Seems sane, rational, all kinds of things. There was some good stuff in here. And Joe Manchin said, if you let me strip that For the People Act thing down to nothing, I'll get you 10 votes. Guess what? Didn't happen. No 10 votes. And guess what? Voting rights legislation is dead. And for me, the most important piece of legislation is the voting rights stuff. Look, I want the Build Back Better plan. I think it's something we desperately need as a nation. I think it's an investment that we've been putting off for far too long. But I'll go another year without it. If you give me the opportunity to have a fair fight, to go to the voters in November of 2022 and 2024 with a fair fight and run on the ideas of, hey, we need these investments. If you want to negotiate for prescription drug prices, if you want to expand Medicare for Granny to get chompers and glasses and hearing aids, if you want to make sure that no kid goes to bed hungry, if you want to make sure kids going off to college after high school get that free community college or voc tech training, you run on that. You vote for the people who want to bring it to you, not the people who have been sitting back going, no, we're not doing anything. We have no responsibility to govern. This is what the Republicans have been saying. The party of no has been saying this for a while. This isn't new. This is even when they were in power. They did nothing. Well, that's not true. They did hand a whole boatload of cash to our billionaires. They did hand off a boatload of cash to corporate America. Shareholder class, investor class, the Wall Street Journal folks, wow, fat and happy, flush with cash and tax breaks. To the point to where, as someone emailed me this week saying, look, you make $25,000 a year, you pay almost as much taxes as a billionaire does. It's crazy. It's insane. It has to change. Question is, will we do it? I don't know. Love to hear your thoughts. You can email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com. Quick break. Right back. Stick around.
More American than workers standing up, and the union gives a voice to win. On the Rick Smith Show.